Hello and welcome. See, I'm going to do a video just about various topics. Maybe the first thing I show you is a gimbal I bought. And I bought this for vacation. And just take a look at it here. You can see there's controls on it that kind of operate the camera. Basically, this is meant for an iPhone. I use it for my iPhone 8. So I'm gonna take a moment here. I'm gonna put my phone in this, and then you can maybe see, what it does. And in essence, for if you don't know what a gimbal is, it's just a stabilizer. So you put your phone in there, and it'll stabilize the phone. So when you're taking pictures of it or taking video with it, it's not jumping around. It's a 3-axis stabilizer. So I'm gonna put it in there, and I'm gonna just shoot a little video with it. All right, so I've got it. My phone in the gimbal. Now I don't know how to run this very well, but I'll give it a try here. All right, so there's a pan. You can see we got a little button on here, so you can kind of pan up and down. So if you want to look at the floor, you can do that. If you want to look at the ceiling, you can do that. If you want to look at a dog, you can do that. Right? Guys, what are you doing down there? I know. Oh yeah, all right. Well, that's exciting. So I'm gonna kind of get it up on maybe just kind of a flat view. But you can see as you move it around, it stabilizes it fairly well. Not really well, actually. Guys, come on, stop. I think it's treat time, which is always treat time. So what do I have going on today? All right, I'm in the process of making some chocolate. This is some milk chocolate I got going on. Figure out how to look in there. You can see it running. There's about 4 pounds of chocolate in there. Kind of getting prepared for my trip to the Philippines in about another month, so I told them I'd bring a whole bunch of my homemade chocolate along. So I'm making chocolate. So we'll just kind of lock that up for now. I've got my next batch of stuff, chocolate here. This is going to be a darker batch. There's some cacao nibs I got in there. Nope, I don't want to go down anymore. We're going to go up. All right, so in here, I'm roasting some almonds, and I'm also melting some. Those are like chocolate pucks that I actually brought home from the Philippines. That's basically raw cacao. And then the bottom of that, there's some cocoa butter. But anyway, I'm just melting that so I can put it in the melanger once I take this stuff out. All right, guys. The dogs aren't cooperating with the video right now. So I'm gonna just kind of walk around and kind of see how this works a little bit. I'm kind of watching up and down. I got backwards here. A lot of news on the coronavirus. I'll even maybe tell you how that's affected me personally on my pending trip going to the Philippines. Anyway, I'll get into that a little bit later. Like a normal, it's Friday here today. On my normal Friday, I guess I got my fire rolling. You look around, maybe glance outside. It's a pretty nice day here for the last day of January. It's about 32 degrees, but it's nice. So the dogs, they're following me around saying, what in the hell? Don't you get the idea here? We want something to eat, a treat. What do you guys want? Oh, just something. Yeah, I think I know what you want. Over here is one of the special ingredients to the chocolate. Let's see, we got a pan down. So I'm just on a candle burner. What's in there? There's some almond oil in there, but I put some vanilla extract in there. And I just let it sit on there for 8-10 hours just to kind of cook the alcohol off of the extract. So when I put it in my chocolate, it doesn't seize my chocolate, but it gives that flavor, gives us a slight vanilla extract flavor into the chocolate. This morning, see, we made some seafood soup. That's been just what I had for lunch and probably what I'm gonna eat for supper. Anyway, all right. That is how this little gizmo works. So, it's pretty cool. I'm gonna be shooting my vacation videos with this, so stay tuned. All right, and a continuation of my video. The coronavirus. I said I was going to talk about that a little bit. I hope my opinions aren't overly biased as to how this goofy thing came to be, and actually how it's impacted me directly. The last 2 times I've went to the Philippines, actually the best flight for me is a flight from China Eastern Airlines out of Chicago that goes to Cebu City. It has a stop, a layover in Shanghai, which happens to be in China. So, as normal, I booked that flight probably a couple months ago already. It was $525, extremely economical flight to get to China and back. Round trip, $525. As this virus kind of started to come about, I think the Chinese downplayed it quite a bit initially as to the severity and what was going on. And maybe in reality, when you realize there's 1.3 billion people or whatever in China, to have 8,000-9,000 people infected and a couple hundred people die, it's an epidemic, but there's a hell of a lot of people in China. That isn't a huge percentage, but nonetheless, other countries have taken note of that. The United States included now, and are starting to restrict travel from China and people being routed through China. So basically what the Philippines are going to do here is they're saying that any flight coming from China that comes into Cebu Airport, which has happened to be where I was going, they were going to put everybody under a 14-day lockdown quarantine. So, in essence, they're saying, don't fucking come to the Philippines from China because you're going to spend your entire trip there under surveillance. So, oh boy. So that, when I heard that, I was like, well, okay, we need to get some alternate plans going here for airline. So actually, last night, I was able to reroute my trip, buy a different ticket in essence, to where I'm gonna leave from Chicago, go to Seoul, Korea, and then down to Cebu. That ticket was about $1,000. Not the end of the world. And then I got in touch with where I bought the ticket, was trying to get a refund on my other ticket. I had, let's say, some success. The fan scan, where the hell I bought the ticket from, Fare Scanner, I think it was called. I ended up getting about 2/3 of my money back. Right now I'm out about $185 on that ticket. So not the worst thing in the world, but nonetheless an inconvenience. But maybe going back to the virus itself, there's some videos on the internet from the market where this supposedly came from, and if you've taken the time to watch that video, I would have to thoroughly discuss about any normal human being. The fact that that market even exists is just, I don't even know how to describe it. I did watch it mainly because my girlfriend had posted it on the internet, so it was easy for me to come across it and look at it. And there's animals of every sort in there, from maybe things that you might eat, but mainly things you probably wouldn't eat normally. Bats, cats, rats, dogs, snakes, and other animals that are just generally unrecognizable to us, and certainly nothing we would even consider eating. The interesting thing, about this is that people think that people from China are eating these things out of necessity, and I don't believe that to be true whatsoever. Maybe years ago they were, but for instance, to eat dog in China, which is still eaten in China by a certain percentage of the population, obviously, because it's for sale here in this video. It's more expensive than the traditional meats. It's more expensive than pork. It's more expensive than chicken. So you're not eating it because it's a necessity. It's because you've acquired a taste for it. And there's one part of this video that I watched I found just extremely appalling. And you're kind of going by all these cages that have various animals in them. And there's a few animals that are kind of in the back that are just kind of standing there, that have been on a leash, or somebody brought them in, obviously to find a buyer for them. And there's a fairly good-sized dog that looked to be kind of a cross between a golden lab, or yellow lab, and a golden retriever, just kind of standing there. And it's a fairly well-fed, well-taken care of dog, which leads me to believe that this is somebody's pet, which means that it's stolen and at this market, because that's a thing over there, is there's a market for these animals. So people go around, they steal these pets from people's homes, and then take them to godforsaken places like this and sell them for slaughter. I can't imagine that myself, but this particular animal is just kind of standing there with a collar on, and obviously has no idea what's probably going to happen to him at the end of the day. But there he is. So, through the course of all this is where the coronavirus, supposedly originated, from this particular market. Whether it was a bat or a rat or a frog or whatever the hell it was that somebody ate or consumed, most likely raw, that this virus infected them, and they eventually spread to more people, and ultimately have contaminated a good majority of the world with this virus. I don't even want to voice my exact opinion on all that, because it might sound a little derogatory towards the Chinese themselves. But, facts are facts. You got people in this part of the world are eating crap they just shouldn't even be eating. And it isn't because they need to eat it. It's because they want to eat it. And that's my opinion, obviously, but I believe that's a fact. Nobody's going to a specialty market and eating snakes, bats, rats, all this stuff because they don't want to. This is a market that's generated because of people's desires to have this stuff for whatever reason. but you know, there's a lot of similarities between Asians, you know, between you know, Japanese, Chinese, Koreans, Filipinos. You know, I've got a lot of knowledge about Filipinos, but you know, the Filipinos find this as equally disgusting as the average American. So I do not put them in the same category. But anyway, probably enough about that. Moral of the story was, yeah, I had to reroute my trip, buy a different ticket, fly through a different country in order to get on my vacation, which, yeah, it cost me some extra money. But ultimately, I suppose it's for my own good, my own safety. And, you know, hopefully other parts of the world are able to contain this thing before it gets out of control. And, you know, let the Chinese deal with the shit that they create, you know. You know, that's maybe kind of a hard attitude, but, you know, this is a problem they've created for the world. So, anyway. All right, enough about that. I'm gonna move on, and I've got to go finish my chocolate. So, you guys take care. Well, guys, what do you think? Day's coming to an end. Yeah. All right, progress. These are my almond joy bars that I made. Some regular molded candy bars, some with some raisins in, a couple plain ones, some with some almonds. These over here, one has almonds and one has trying some dried cherries. So anyway, once I get these a chance to harden up a little bit, I'll individually pack them, put them away, and there you have it. And you guys, want to say goodbye? No, you want a treat, huh? All right, well, give me a minute. All right. Yeah, can you dance? Can you dance for me? Come on. Come on, yes. Oh my goodness. All right, there we are. Dancing dog. All right. Okay, gotta take care of my dogs.